Rachel Maddow and Jon Stewart are both political hacks. I think the liberal audience largely is turning on them, even they're coming over to Trump. I'm Doug TeNapel. This is the Doug TeNapel channel. Welcome to Exile. As we go through watching Rachel Maddow have a complete meltdown.
I mean, he comes wholly from this very, very obscure, eccentric, right-wing subculture of tech billionaires.
Over JD Vance together. This is funnier than Jon Stewart. We'll have a Jon Stewart joke at the end. You can tell me which is funnier. I think Rachel Maddow here is funnier.
JD Vance says not only do conservatives need to, in his words, wake up.
First, she's terrified of JD Vance.
This is literally a pro-dictatorship, pro-monarchy philosophy.
Who's got to be the most harmless guy in the world. But she's afraid of that he's calling us all to wake up, which I agree. We all need to wake up because culture is evil.
But what they need to wake up to is the fact that most of American life and culture should be, in his words.
She keeps using in his words, which is really in her words. So in her words, in his words.
Ripped out like a tumor. Those are, again, his words, not mine.
And those are her words, not mine.
Our leaders right now are so corrupt and so vile that if you assimilate into their culture, you're assimilating into like garbage liberal elite culture. You're not assimilating into traditional American culture.
I see nothing wrong with that. That's true. It's radical, but it's true.
So almost the thing that you need to do, step one in the process, is to totally replace, like rip out like a tumor, the current American leadership class, and then reinstall some sense of American.
Yeah, you got to rip it out like a tumor. That's all they're saying. You know, if I were to put it this way, go to any liberal, you know, and go, hey, should we rip out the conservative Supreme Court members like a tumor? They'd say yes. That's it's a way that you talk about something that you're saying is cancerous or tumorous, something you disagree with. It's not a big deal, Rachel. Wipe your little tears away.
We need to rip it out like a tumor.
Are those your words or are those his words? I forgot. You didn't remind us.
And why he was brought onto the ticket, despite his palpable lack of political skill or likability, his lack of any track record in politics whatsoever.
Lack of track record or likability? Are we talking about JD Vance or Kamala Harris?
And after he spent less than 2 years in the only public office he's ever held, which is a Senate seat that he only barely won.
How many public offices did Kamala Harris win? What percentage of that vice presidency did she get? She's never won anything, and she's running for the presidency, and she's complaining about JD Vance being a vice president pick without enough experience.
Thanks to one of those eccentric tech billionaires giving him the single largest Senate campaign donation in the history of this country.
She's complaining that one tech billionaire gave JD Vance a bunch of money. Who gives more money to the Democrat Party than every other tech billionaire? She's mad that one of them gave unprecedented amounts of money to JD Vance, but all the rest of them combined give an unprecedented amount of money to every single Democrat candidate. She doesn't care about these tech billionaires.
I mean, he comes wholly from this very, very obscure, eccentric, right-wing subculture of tech billionaires.
Those tech billionaires, you know, how they're so eccentric and right-wing. Can you imagine? There's no more, they're all lefty hippies. There's a handful of them that have some right-wing, probably largely libertarian. When I say right-wing, not Christian, not that kind of conservative. It's like an atheistic libertarianism. It's not right-wing.
Going to have to get over their dictator phobia. What do you do with this level of radicalism? Trying to take over in Washington right now and trying to convince the far right that they've got to stop being afraid of wielding this kind of power this way. What do you do with this?
I don't know. Remove it like a tumor, Rachel?
I don't know, but we got to do something with it.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to love on it. I love this right-wing radical stuff. Here's Jon Stewart doing some humor light on Kamala Harris.
But on the other hand, about Kamala Harris, I've been hearing some very concerning things about her.
She's come under some criticism for being relatively vague in her policy proposals.
They don't have enough specifics on the solutions.
When she tried to explain what she would do, it made no sense. It's gibberish.
The public demands a detailed plan of action.
Oh, Jon Stewart, that's such a humdinger. You really brought it home on that one. Kamala Harris doesn't have many specifics on her economic plan. Boy, if you were a real comedian, you would completely eviscerate her, but you're a hack instead, so you came up with this.
And they're not getting it from her.
We demand that. If there is one thing that the American public demands, it is a detailed plan of, the Golden Bachelorette.
Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, is smacking women around. That's the news that came out. And Jon Stewart here came up with a joke that Americans are easily distracted. Boy, you are a grade A hack, like all liberal entertainers.
His involvement in Project 2025 is.
You can't do your job. I'm Doug in exile.